Well, welcome to Mastering Astral Projection. This would be day 91, but there's one day left actually, and I just don't feel inspired to finish it. Um, the reason being is that I just didn't feel like this was working for me. So after all is said and done, I'm going to go and try a different method. I've talked a lot about Newport and Lucidology, and what I've decided to do actually is experiment a little bit with it. It's not the same thing as the Mastering Astral Projection procedure because it actually is utilizing the sleep state as opposed to trying to do the astral projection through waking consciousness. But I figured after posting on the forum for astralprojection.au and not really getting anywhere, I know those guys are great and they put a lot of effort into that site, but I didn't feel like I got any useful information out of them. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to try and use Nicholas Newport's method, which he calls Lucidology 101, and specifically I'm going to use the timer method. So the timer is essentially based on the idea of hypnotic fractionation, which means that when you move into a trance state, if you're quickly brought out of the trance state and then allowed to go back into the trance state, you go in deeper the second time. Thus, you go in deeper the third time, then the fourth time, then the fifth time. So the timer is literally something that wakes you up while you're sleeping on intervals. The intervals that I'm using are based on fours. So there's a number of timers available from Lucidology.com, and there's one based on Flash. There's some iPhone timers out there. There's an MP3 that Nicholas Newport built himself that has a large space of silence, and then it enters the beep timer increment in the same way that the timer would. But what I've decided to do is I was able to locate a timer on the Android device, which is what I use for a cell phone, and it is called Stop Timer. That is all one word, Stop Timer. And what it allows you to do is, I'm not sure if it's infinite or not, but I've created a number of timers, and basically what it does is it just sends out a series of beeps, and that is modifiable. I'm only using one, but it's fairly loud, and it lasts for, I don't know, about 500 milliseconds or so, and then it goes on to the next timer. So right now my increments are set at 8 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 16 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and 6 minutes. So basically the first timer will go off once I set it at after 8 minutes. It'll just, the minute it beeps, it goes to the next timer. So that means 4 minutes go by. Then it beeps again. Then 8 minutes go by. Then it beeps again, etc. The idea behind it is to not have the same interval because the subconscious mind will entrain to that interval. So it uses these staggered intervals so that the subconscious mind won't expect anything. And the idea behind it is that you go into trance, you go deep enough, then you get brought out, then you go back into trance, you get deep enough, and then you get brought out, and you get deeper and deeper each time until you get to the point where you have these longer timers, 16 minutes and 20 minutes, and that is enough time that you should be able to go into the mind awake, body asleep state, or at least acknowledge at some point that your body's gone to sleep. Now, one of the things that you use to help your body get into the sleep state while the mind is still awake is you lie perfectly still, including the eyes. One of the things I guess Nicholas was able to figure out is that the body will recognize that it's asleep if you lie perfectly still, don't move your eyes, and emulate your breathing pattern as if you were asleep. The way he has you understand your breathing pattern is to actually record yourself while you're sleeping and then listen back to that recording to see if you can detect what your breathing pattern is like. But I tried this, and I'm pretty good at recording because I'm an audio engineer, and I actually couldn't. It was really, really difficult to hear my breathing, and I had my portable mic, my Zoom H2N, no more than a foot or two away from me. The way I was able to know that I was actually asleep, which was difficult for me because I am an insomniac. I had a dream, and then when I woke up from the dream, I said I was dreaming right there. Kind of, I remembered I was recording, and then when I went back and listened to the recording, I found that spot where I mumbled that I was dreaming, and then I knew that I was dreaming in that state right there. But like I said, it was really hard to hear. So you can also just let your body move into a completely relaxed state. When you breathe while you're sleeping, it's a very slow, unlabored breath that just slightly expands the diaphragm. So just experiment with that a little bit. It shouldn't be too difficult. You shouldn't really have to record yourself. If you're the kind of person that snores, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not a snorer. So, but I suppose you could always try manually snoring and tricking your body into going to sleep. I don't know. So this is what I'm trying now, and I will probably trickle in little bits of information that I've learned from mastering astral projection, because I know that there was a lot of useful information there, especially about how it feels when the body does go into the sleep state and the mind is still awake. It looks like what I found out about myself, though, is I don't have the usual vibrational state that most people have when they're going into OBEs. I'm thinking that this is because, like Nicholas Newport and Robert Bruce, they both mentioned that you really only have strong vibrations when you have energy blockages, and maybe I just don't have energy blockages. I mean, it would make sense to me because I've been meditating since I was in my teens, and I have a lot of spiritual practices, like things that I do daily, and I have for years. So I may just not have energy blockages, which actually makes it difficult to know that you're entering into the sleep state. So, entering into the mind awake, body asleep state, or that you're getting ready to astral project and you want to start doing your exit techniques. So, still working on this, but I'm going to try this out and see if at least I can get my body conditioned to the state that I know I'm going to do an OBE. And then once I go back to trying to do this consciously, it might just be that much easier. So I'll keep you posted as I start to experiment. One of the other things I wanted to note too was that a while back I had uploaded the link in the description for, I don't know, it was around day 66 or something like that, the link to the hypnosis file that I created, and I'm still using that. It's designed to help you learn to retrieve astral projection memory, or OBE memory, and I have exceptional dream recall, but maybe dream recall is completely different than astral memory. I don't really know, and I'm trying to figure this out. So I guess bear with me as I try and figure that out. So dreams have been really interesting lately. And I did remember dreams last night. So last night was the first night, or actually it was early this morning, the first time that I used the timer. And I did have dream memory. And it was an interesting dream. This girl, I'm in this bed, I'm trying to sleep. This girl walks in and she drops glasses at the end of my bed and breaks them. And I kind of sat up and I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you?" And she's like, "I've been kind of drinking too much." I'm like, "Oh, that's really nice. And can you please remove all the broken glass from my bed?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm really sorry." And we started picking up the glass and moving it off of the bed. And I'm thinking to myself, how are we going to get all this glass off of my bed? I have no idea what that dream is about. But a couple of other things that happened, and this is interesting. There's a guy named Gilbert Williams, I believe. He's an artist, and he's one of these guys that does imagery that kind of borders on fantasy and like Lemurian Atlantis stuff. Everything's very blue and green, and he does a lot of statuary, and the work is very detailed, like actually painting the leaf on each tree, that sort of thing. I saw something last night that reminded me of his work. It was a really quick flash. It was one of those hypnagogic flashes. Although this one lasted more than... This was an interesting thing, because usually those hypnagogic flashes are just like, boom, they're there and they're gone. And this one lasted a few seconds, and I was looking at these big, beautiful snow-capped mountains, and I thought, oh, those look like Gilbert Williams. And then I had another quick flash of a little boy's face, a little blonde boy. I was like, who are you? I've never seen him before. So it's interesting. Immediately I'm having a lot of at least visual experiences with the timer method. So Lucidology, one thing I want to say is Lucidology 101 is free. You can go to lucidology.com, you can see all the stuff that Nicholas Newport has posted. He has a lot of YouTube videos. You can watch all of those if you want to. And I actually paid for Lucidology 102, which is about 28 bucks or 34 bucks or something. So I own that. The difference between 101 and 102 is that in 101 he's not doing any visual methods. He's using only physical, tactile experience. And in Lucidology 102 is where he introduces all of the visual methods. So to be respectful to his copyright and stuff, it's going to be a little challenging for me to talk about his techniques. So I'll be able to talk about Lucidology 101 as much as I want because it's already free, but 102 may be a little difficult. It'll be challenging. I don't know. You know, technically mastering astral projection, I brought you through each day. So if you've watched, you know everything that's happened, but I think that the number of users that actually are watching this are so few that it's not going to really matter, but you know, you're always treading on thin ice with copyright stuff. So I'm going to try to be respectful, but I'm also going to try and be true to explaining what's happening with my process, because this is my journal essentially. So anyway, for those of you that watch, good to see you again. Thank you. Good night.